Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. So today we have an update on Warner Bros. Discovery, namely that it looks like they're going to be splitting the two, which might actually be good news. The merger was very unpopular to begin with, and I've done multiple videos at this point talking about all the missteps they did, and to be honest, I don't think it had to be this bad. It's just that I think that Warner Bros. Was terribly mismanaged. Like when it comes to HBO Max, they have almost a century worth of a back catalog that they could have just taken advantage of, but instead they gave us things like Velma while also canceling a lot of very exciting projects. And they were canceling a lot of movies that were already completed or at least near completion, like from the Scooby-Doo franchise or the Looney Tunes franchise. And then we had third parties coming in and trying to revive these projects so they can at least see the light of day. And really, Warner Bros. Could not keep this up. So I'm not surprised that they're now probably going to do this big split. But let's just get into the article and see what's going on. So it does look like they are going to go ahead with the split. The article starts with Warner Bros. Discovery is splitting into two separate publicly traded companies, one oriented around the HBO Max streaming service and Warner Bros. Studio, and the other around CNN and other television networks. Which I think makes sense, like as we've talked about before, Warner Bros. And Discovery didn't really seem like they had a lot in common or they had goals that really aligned that much, and it was more about, I guess they thought it was convenient, but it really did not work out for them in the long run. Maybe Zaslav will step down too. I wouldn't necessarily be against that, and I'm sure most people wouldn't. But let's continue. The first company, known for now as Streaming and Studios, will be led by CEO David Zaslav, and the second company, Global Networks, will be led by CFO Gunnar Weidenfels. So admittedly, that's disappointing coming right out of the gates that David Zaslav is still involved, because it just doesn't seem like he's proven himself as a CEO, or really has the company's best interest in mind. In my opinion, I'm just saying all the news that come out of this company makes Zaslav look pretty bad, but I guess it is what it is. Hopefully they'll be able to turn it around. The separation aims to provide each company with greater strategic flexibility and focus, the company said in a statement. Warner Bros. Discovery intends for the corporate breakup to take effect in mid-2026. Honestly, who didn't see this coming? But it continues with, Monday's announcement is Warner Bros. Discovery's answer to investor pressure and intensive industry-wide change. As the cable television business contracts in the streaming era, Zaslav is offering shareholders a way to invest in the growing HBO Max part of the business without exposure to cable. I don't really blame shareholders for asking questions or kind of being on their backs about this because the writing was just on the wall, you know? But that said, the networks that are a part of the second company continue to boast strong profits and global audiences. Well, good for them, but I do think they could have done that without being connected between Warner Bros. And Discovery. I do hope they can find a path forward that's more suitable for them. I just think that it would be nice for Warner Bros. To get it together, considering their long history. And it's just sad to see these popular franchises flounder the way they have been. But let's continue on. The evolution isn't a departure from our strategy to deploy Max globally, optimize our global networks, and return our studios to industry leadership. It's about unlocking the full potential of two strong businesses, Zaslav told staffers in an internal memo. Each has a distinct focus, a clear mission, and the scale to succeed on its own terms. But if that were the case, then why did they get together in the first place? But I digress. The breakup comes only 3 years after the combination of Discovery and the old-time Warner took effect to great fanfare. I wouldn't say great fanfare, but that's just me. Shares in Warner Bros. Discovery have fallen by about half since then. The company's stock rose more than 10% on Monday, which is when they announced the split. So I think that says a lot about their standing. And again, I do think a lot of this is self-inflicted, just constantly taking misstep after misstep, to the point where their stock suffered a lot for it, as well as their creative department. But Monday's breakup announcement has been expected because Warner Bros. Discovery has spent the last 6 months restructuring itself with an eye toward the split. Comcast is currently going through its own version, though that one is structured as a spin-off of cable assets rather than a split into two publicly traded companies. And again, they were not together that long. It was only a few years, but they had to very quickly try to course correct. And it's both kind of sad to see, but also this is probably the best news we could have gotten out of Warner Brothers right now, apart from Zaslav stepping down. But it is what it is. I guess we'll have to hope he manages to make better decisions going forward. When the 2022 deal took effect, WBD carried more than $50 billion in debt. The company has made great strides in reducing the debt load. Still, the debt was cited as a factor in S&P Global Ratings' decision to downgrade the company's stock last month to junk status. Ouch. Maybe that also is part of why they scrapped all those movies, because it seemed like they were doing it specifically for taxes, like have those as a tax write-off. But that debt still kept weighing down on them, to the point where we're in this situation we're in now. But it goes on to say the primary reason the S&P cited was continued revenue and cash flow declines at its linear TV operations, which we've gone over in past videos. I just don't know how they thought they could keep going the way they were, and we can only hope that they finally got a dose of reality they've been seriously needing. Most of the remaining $37 billion in debt is going to live with global networks, with a not insignificant portion going with the streaming side, Weidenfels told analysts on a Monday morning call. So I guess they're offloading their debt to other areas? I might be misinterpreting that though, but it sounds like that's what he's saying. I don't know, I'm still not totally on board with these decisions, but I do think the split will probably be a net positive overall. Although WBD's best known digital brands will be part of streaming and studios, the network's company will also have some streaming assets of its own, including Discovery Plus and Bleacher Report. CNN is also building a new streaming service that will launch later this year. I don't know if all these streaming services are a good idea. I mean, there's already so many streaming services, and people are probably being overwhelmed with choices. And maybe instead of putting so much into launching all these streaming services, they could have put more into actually making these new movies or taking advantage of their past backlog. I mean, they're canceling movies left and right, but then they're still talking about streaming services. I don't know, I guess we'll have to wait and see, but that's where the article ends. Overall, I wish them the best. I do hope that they can turn it around for not just the company's sake, but also for like Scooby-Doo and Looney Tunes and all these other franchises' sake. It would just be nice if Warner Brothers could get it together. But those are my thoughts. What do you guys think about this split? Do you think it's for the best? Do you think that it was a long time coming? Do you think they're still going to keep mismanaging things and things aren't really going to improve regardless? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now. Thanks for watching, everyone. I really appreciate it. Before I go, I want to give a shout out to our members: Tyrant Carnivore, Shiny Orc Boy, Depth Charge Media, Samaru163, Gabby Hime, Verdant Range, JVR, Equestron, Norman Sweet Cream, Way Beyond Coincidence, Hunter Rose, 80s Nostalgia Guy, Felix Bam, Lucas Geist, J Draws, Meowsers, Sky, Philip, Isaac Martinez, Garcia XV Legend, Tobias Weller, Bandito Bane, Mac B909, Dakari the Professor, Todd McCaffrey, Omni Fair, Cavalcoj, Strider Exile, Phil C, Killer Bomb, Slawa Saporiguez, Entwined Boot 301, Griffin of Might, Frankie Camarillo, Datadyne Executive, Crimson Phantom, Jin the Goblin, Papa Hud 69, The Gengar King, Daunter, and G-Rock. Thank you for the support, and if you want to become a member, you can hit the join button next to the subscribe button. We also have a Buy Me Coffee if you want to support us that way. And if you enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and that part's free. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye for now.